Wisdom shouts in the streets. She cries out in the public square. She calls to the crowds along the main street, to those gathered in front of the city gate. How long, you simpletons, will you insist on being simple-minded? How long will you mockers relish your mocking? How long will you fools hate knowledge? Come and listen to my counsel. I'll share my heart with you and make you wise. I called you so often, but you wouldn't come. I reached out to you, but you paid no attention. You ignored my advice and rejected the correction I offered. So I will laugh when you are in trouble. I will mock you when disaster overtakes you. When calamity overtakes you like a storm. When disaster engulfs you like a cyclone and anguish and distress overwhelm you. When they cry for help, I will not answer. Though they anxiously search for me, they will not find me. For they hated knowledge and chose not to fear the Lord. They rejected my advice and paid no attention when I corrected them. Therefore, they must eat the bitter fruit of living their own way, choking on their own schemes. For simpletons turn away from me to death. Fools are destroyed by their own complacency. But all who listen to me will live in peace, untroubled by fear of harm.
Do you realize that you wouldn't open your door to a stranger and you would be terrified if you were in your house and a stranger just walks in your door, stood there, and then comes towards you? You would be terrified. Um, you would be trying to figure out how to defend yourself. You would be trying to figure out who the person is and what they came for. You would have a lot of questions and actions in the moment where your life is threatened. But yet, I wonder if you know that oftentimes when you're online, engaging with people that you don't know, that have just entered into your space, that have started to communicate with you, and I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying some people, are just as dangerous. You hear about, you know, all of these things happening, people getting hacked, money's getting stolen out of accounts, people, answering calls thinking that they're talking to Social Security or some other entity and giving up all their information, right? And in that moment, they don't see the person over the phone or the person over the computer or the person in your messenger and your chat box or however they come across as dangerous as the person that is intruding upon your physical space. This person may be physically present, but this person is intruding on your mental and spiritual space. And so it's time to use wisdom. It's time to walk away from foolishness and to be able to recognize with clarity foolishness and what it is. What is foolishness? Do you know? Right? Oftentimes we talk about, oh, I'm not hanging around with fools. I can't stand that fool, whatever it may be. But do you really understand what foolishness is? And that foolishness is in direct opposition, meaning it is an enemy as a force. It is an enemy to wisdom. It is an enemy, direct opposition to wisdom. How long, you simpleton, will you insist on being simple minded? How long will you mockers relish your mocking? And how long will you fools hate knowledge? Do you understand that if you are hanging around with foolish people or engaged in foolish behavior, that you are in direct opposition to knowledge, that you are in danger? Do you understand that the fool, the simple minded person, is willfully and intentionally denying knowledge. The fool hates knowledge. The fool likes being stupid and is easily seducible. The simple person is easily seducible. I told you guys before, I don't like the word nice. If you look up the word etymology for nice, it's a fool. Silly, stupid, foolish. Do you understand the danger in hanging out with fools or being simple minded? I don't know if you realize the danger. I don't know if you understand that this spirit or force of foolishness is seeking to combat wisdom, is searching to destroy wisdom. And yet you're easily persuaded by a fool. I use the example of knowing when you're in danger. When you're around fools, do you recognize that you're in danger? Do you understand that if you have knowledge and you're operating with wisdom and discernment, that the fool is dangerous to you? So I want to go over the word and we can begin to unfold exactly what it means to be a fool. So a fool is a person who lacks good sense or judgment. A stupid or silly person. A smart or clever person can be described as no fool or as nobody's fool. A person who enjoys something very much. So overindulgence becomes perverse and and it seduces you, and then you become a fool, no longer in control of yourself, but controlled by something or someone else. There's also a fool, and the way that I've seen it spelled in perhaps Old English, FOLE, is a dessert made with cooked fruit and cream or a thick sauce. So you see, these are some of the usages of the word noun, full. You'll also see a jester. So let's talk about that for a minute because I purposely put up this right here, a jester, because in the sense of court jesters that were hired by kings for entertainment so that the king could look at this person doing foolish things and laugh, right? Um, that doesn't necessarily mean that the person lacked intelligence. That it just means that that court jester fool willfully came up with foolish things to entertain the king. Some court jesters were by force, some it was an employment. And so we continue to see people in the entertainment space that are willfully, because we know they're not dumb, we know they're not stupid, right? They're doing it for the dollar, willfully foolish in their entertainment, willfully conceding themselves to, you know, whoever is willing to watch and give them money. So be careful. Be careful what types of media you put before your face. 'Cause some of it is so foolish that you'll get seduced by the dumbness, by the idiocracy. Um, and so Act or play the fool. Make a fool of yourself. To behave in a very foolish or silly way. I was just talking about act or play the fool when we're talking about entertainment. Make a fool of yourself when we're talking about the gesture. And this happens in real life too. How many times while you're seeking the approval of man or woman, do you behave in a way that is foolish or silly to somewhat ease the introduction or the time spent with them? Talk about yourself or other people, thinking that it's funny. Don't partake in foolishness. Make a fool out of to cause someone to look stupid or foolish. Now, sometimes people do that for entertainment, so it's no surprise to me that these examples of the word and word usages come after jester. Are you the court jester, the party jester, the family jester, the workplace jester? Is that you? Don't make a fool of yourself or a fool out of anyone else or act or play the fool for entertainment. And I would challenge you that if you feel as though that's what you have to do in situations, instead of communicating because you feel compelled to do these foolish things, that you start to build up your communication, your knowledge, your wisdom, and your confidence, right? Because if you're confident with who you are, you would not act or play the fool. If you're confident in understanding your value, you would not make a fool of yourself. And if you're confident with being in your own skin, you wouldn't have to make a fool out of someone else or make someone else look stupid. Confidence is important. I'm not talking about pride or arrogance. I'm talking about fully knowing and understanding your worth and your value, who you are. That's where you start. You know who you are? You wouldn't act a fool. If you knew who you were and you knew that you had value, you wouldn't act a fool, play the fool, make a fool of yourself or out of someone else just for laughs or just for friends. A fool. Fools fooled fully. To speak or act in a way that is not serious. I heard a statement throughout my life that there's a lot of seriousness in a joke, right? How many times do you hear jokes and it's making a fool out of the person, either themselves or someone else, right? There's a lot of seriousness in a joke. We see April Fool's jokes gone bad. Look up the history and the meaning of April Fool's Day before you celebrate that way. Leave these heathen pagan holidays alone, lest you become a fool permanently. Okay. And so then you see, to make someone believe that it's not true, to trick someone. This is the seductive part of foolishness. This is the seduction that is intertwined with playing, acting, or being a fool or hanging around fool. Bad company corrupts good morals. All right. And so then you see uh, the usage of playing or handling with something in a careless way. So fools are careless. That means they don't care. Okay. Because to have less from care means careless. You don't. You don't have care, right? To do things without care, to fool around with something. To how many challenges do you see, right? All of these challenges and you know ending tragically. People jumping on crates, eating the hottest pepper ever, challenging each other to hold their breath, that's foolish. It's in direct opposition to knowledge and wisdom. And if you have to, again, act or play the fool just for entertainment, you're a court jester. Okay. To deal with or be involved with something that causes or that could cause trouble, that's foolishness. Fool with someone to deal with someone in a way that may cause anger or violence. We see that happen in pranks gone bad, right? Where you have a pranker or a court jester, a fool, pranking someone in a way that causes them to become angry and perhaps turns bad, as into that person didn't appreciate the value of being fooled or pranked, and it turns violent, right? If you believe that you have to engage in foolishness to have fun, then you need to get your mentality up. If you believe that being around foolishness is the only source of entertainment, then you need to get your mentality up. Okay. Always used before a noun. Informal. Foolish. See that? That's the U.S. informal way. Fool is used foolish. You see right there as an adjective. To fool about. To do things that are not useful or serious. To waste time. Do you know that it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, uh, sick, or well, whatever comparisons you can think of that are opposites, everybody gets the same amount of time and you can't purchase anymore and you can't sell any. And I'm talking about a 24-hour period, or you can say from the time they wake up to the time the sun goes out, down until the time they wake up again. Everybody in that time period has the same amount of time. If, we both wake up at 7 a.m. and both go to bed at 7 p.m. and then wake up again the next day at 7 a.m. and we have the same amount of time. Don't waste it, right? We have the same amount of time. You can't buy any of my time and I can't sell you any. I can't buy any of your time and you can't sell me any. The most valuable resource you have is your time, believe that or not. Okay, so don't waste your time or allow other people to waste your time with foolishness. Especially, definitely know that when people are consistently doing things, or if you are consistently doing things that are not useful or serious, wasting time, that's dangerous. That a fool will get you in trouble. Being foolish, lacking wisdom, hating knowledge, being in direct opposition to wisdom, being the enemy of wisdom and understanding knowledge is dangerous. Okay. To have sex with someone who is not your husband, wife, or regular partner. You see, that says to fool about. You see it right there. To fool about, but you think you're just having fun until you get bad news, right? And it's part of the seduction and the perversity of foolishness. Now, many people are seduced through foolishness. You see all of the usages right here, okay? Whether that be through entertainment or, sexual perversity, or, you know, having to play the fool like the court jester to be able to get along or to relate to someone, right? That's seduction. You're seduced and deluded by foolishness, which is in direct opposition to wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Fool around about with something, to use or do something in a way that is not very serious, to handle or play with something in a careless or foolish way. So you see all of those usages of the word, and I want you to look up these meanings and correlations to simpletons, the simple, or fool in the book of Proverbs. Okay, here's the Strong's Concordant numbers right here, right? As you can see, like I said, it's dangerous. In direct opposition to wisdom. Wisdom's crying out, calling out, excuse me, in the streets, saying, how long will you simpletons like your simple ways? How long will you simpletons insist on being simple minded? How long will you fools hate knowledge? How long will you mockers relish your mocking? Do you see the order of that? Do you see how that grows progressively first? Wisdom saying you're simple and you insist on being simple minded. That simple mindedness, just going along to get along, like, agreeable, turns into mocking because now, the non agreeable people are the problem and not you, right? And then it goes from being simple minded and a simpleton to a mocker to hating knowledge, right? Hating knowledge. And how many people do we see every day that despise knowledge, right? And then turn and despise you because you don't want to deal with their foolishness, because you are not finding it entertaining to deal with the musings of their lack of education or whatever they call it, right? And so they begin to deride and harass and attack you because you want to operate in wisdom, discernment, understanding, and knowledge. I've seen this happen to people just because they want to ask questions to understand what is being said to them. The person doesn't want to answer the questions. How many times do we see that? People throwing out all kinds of information and, can't answer a question, don't want to respond to the information that they're providing. Or maybe it's not their information. Maybe they're just a court gesture, hired to do a job to entertain people. So today I challenge you to go through the book of Proverbs and read a new chapter every day so that you can spend time understanding wisdom, looking up the word etymologies, Strong's concordance, biblical usages, um, and know and pray about multiplying your wisdom so that you will not put yourself in danger around foolishness, and you will not invite foolish people and the spirit or the force of foolishness into your life. So the more wisdom that you have, the more that wisdom is going to automatically drive away foolishness. And the more you will be able to automatically detect foolishness and not engage with foolishness. Because you know what? Will happen is that you will be saddened by the choices and interactions of the fool or being the fool. Shalom, peace and blessings. I hope that you take a self evaluation and apply this knowledge from today.
In front of the city gate. How long, you simpletons, will you insist on being simple minded? How long will you mockers relish your mocking? How long will you fools hate knowledge? Come and listen to my counsel. I'll share my heart with you and make you wise. I called you so often, but you wouldn't come. I reached out to you, but you paid no attention. You ignored my advice and rejected the correction I offered. So I will laugh when you are in trouble. I will mock you when disaster overtakes you. When calamity overtakes you like a storm. When disaster engulfs you like a cyclone and anguish and distress overwhelm you. When they cry for help, I will not answer. Though they anxiously search for me, they will not find me. For they hated knowledge and chose not to fear the Lord. They rejected my advice and paid no attention when I corrected them. Therefore, they must eat the bitter fruit of living their own way, choking on their own schemes. For simpletons turn away from me to death. Fools are destroyed by their own complacency. But all who listen to me will live in peace, untroubled by fear of harm. Takes her stand at the crossroads, by the gates at the entrance to the town. On the road leading in, she cries aloud, I call to you, to all of you. I raise my voice to all people. You simple people, use good judgment. You foolish people, show some understanding. Listen to me, for I have important things to tell you. Everything I say is right, for I speak the truth and detest every kind of deception. My advice is wholesome. There is nothing devious or crooked in it. My words are plain to anyone with understanding, clear to those with knowledge. Choose my instruction rather than silver, and knowledge rather than pure gold. For wisdom is far more valuable than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with it. I, wisdom, live together with good judgment. I know where to discover knowledge and discernment. All who fear the Lord will hate evil. Therefore, I hate pride and arrogance, corruption and perverse speech. Common sense and success belong to me. Insight and strength are mine. Because of me, kings reign, and rulers make just decrees. Rulers lead with my help, and nobles make righteous judgments. I love all of me. Search will surely find me. I have riches and honor, as well as enduring wealth and justice. My gifts are better than gold, even the purest gold. My wages better than sterling silver. I walk in righteousness and paths of justice. Those who love me inherit wealth. I fill their treasuries. The Lord formed me from the beginning, before he created anything else. I was appointed in ages past, at the very first, before the earth even began. I was born before the oceans were created, before the springs bubbled forth their waters, the rivers were formed. Before the hills, I was born. Before he had made the earth and fields and the first handfuls of soil, I was there when he established the heavens, when he drew the horizon on the oceans. I was there when he set the clouds above, when he established springs deep in the earth. I was there when he set the limits of the seas, so they would not spread beyond their boundaries. And when he marked off the earth, I was the architect at his side. I was his constant delight, rejoicing always in his presence. And how happy I was with the world he created, how I rejoiced with the human family. And so, my children, listen to me, for all who follow my ways are joyful. Listen to my instruction and be wise. Don't ignore it. Joyful are those who listen to me, watching for me daily at my gates, waiting for me outside of my home. For whoever finds me finds life and receives favor from the Lord. But those who miss me injure themselves. All who hate me love death.